right. I hope everyone's sitting and ready and all that. If you are over here, oh shit, my cell phone. And you hit this late, probably like two people probably watching this thing since it's what 10 o'clock. Just want to kind of, I mean, there's not a whole lot of things to say. As by the way, thank you for tuning in to the trading show. This is host Sid Chowdhury here, and you know, it's got done a little bit later than usual. I didn't get that much sleep. I'm tired as hell. I've been outside in the sun most of the day, working in the backyard, trying to fix up the fence. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing all day. And I'm just really tired. But I just wanted to. I was thinking of not even doing a stream, but I made a commitment to make kind of do it on a regular basis, and later on as I do more of this, like to come up with like in a certain time frame all the time, to make adjustments like that. So nothing to say. I mean, not a whole lot of things to say. Essentially, as we know, well, there's a lot of things to say, but it's we're in the middle of like the big shoe that like I was saying before, that there will be big shoe to fall. I mean, as we go in the future, there'll be more down moves. And sorry for that. My little dog is being a little bitch. So 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 essentially, what happened is, like as I was saying, that in the last since I started streaming, that the market essentially is in a bear market, whether people realize it or not. And that's primarily because nobody wants to take the pill and just say that what, this is going to be big. This is going to be a big one. This is something that is not like a regular event, not even an irregular event, not even a 2008, right? This is something totally different. And so this is something that I've been since actually, I mean, I started streaming primarily because of that. Like I was thinking, holy shit, there's a lot of things happening or about to happen, and it's like everyone's in denial, everyone's complacent, right? And so you would have, basically, if you were to kind of bets at the beginning, you'd be really rich today. Unfortunately, I had also other business that I was dealing with, so I was not primarily looking at trading. Um, I was basically kind of like up on top of it, but not necessarily really active with it all the time. And so I wanted to just start streaming. That way, it forces me to be active and engaging with the market on a daily basis. So, but we're just gonna talk over what happened, and what market action, like this kind of market action looks like, right? So essentially, now everyone's aware of this, and it's basically like it's the woo flu, right? The woo flu is affecting everyone's mind now. Now it takes up space in everyone's mind for free. All this time, everyone's basically downplaying it. This is a nothing burger. This is a nothing burger. This is not a big deal at all. In fact, even people right now, are saying that they're overreacting. There's I'm sorry for my dog. Let me go shut her up. How about that? Give me a second. All right. There were squirrels outside. So yeah, as I was saying, that everyone's really saying it's a nothing burger, right? So pretty much like that's been the case, and primarily because Nobody wants to take the bitter pill, because if let's say, and I don't just mean like the higher ups. I mean even the people, the middle people who manage people's money. It's like, why would you say that? Like, what if chances are, because most times it's not. It is all just scare, fear mongering, right? Or like this is just like things that people get on a fad and go away. Um, and the other thing is that there was a lot of misinformation. By misinformation, I mean obfuscation. There people were hiding the, not just I don't mean just China. I mean over in the states too. People are too PC about it. Politically correct about it, and nobody wants to say, hey, I mean, if you don't have a nation, if you can like fucking like close your border to save your fucking lives, you know what I mean? I mean, if you don't have control of your border, why even have a nation? So that's to say that when they were trying to think about like these travel bans, like I mean, there's reasons why we shouldn't travel, right? Like, let's say someone has really contagious disease, you're not gonna go to his home. I mean, then and you don't want to like invite him over, right? Like someone at your work comes by and says, "Hey, man, he's sneezing." I mean, like, I mean, again, we love you, but a little bit of distance, or I don't know, make sure you don't sneeze in front and stuff like that, right? But the point being that nobody want to take that step. And given the political climate we're in, people, if someone took that step, let's say Trump said, hey, you know what, we're going to close down the border. Guess what? Is racist, is this, is that, and all that kind of stuff. Vice versa, when he does something stupid, the other team takes advantage of it. For example, that he wasn't forthcoming, or he wasn't as, like people, he was just saying, just the flu. It's just the flu, bro. Right? Then the other side would be like, well, if you see an Asian guy, and I'm just, again, I'm kind of going into hot water there, but if you see someone like, some Chinese guy and he's sneezing, that's racism if you look at him, or some shit like that, right? So, in other words, that there were denial, obfuscation, media hiding things because it's uncomfortable, because it's on PC, uh, or politically incorrect, all this kind of things, and take action because you have to. And the other thing is that market will go down, right? So if that Trump is taking now, or the government is taking now, or the Trump is forcing to everyone things to happen now, they should have done that like 2 months back. You know, basically none of these things happened. Sure, the market would have gone down 5,000 points, but it will it would go 5,000. It would go down 5,000 points, but it has a much better chance of like going up 5,000 points real soon versus now, right? I mean 500 points on, let's say, SP, SP 500. So what's happened is that, like, for example, yesterday, like I was saying, is that you might see something of a retracement as possibility, because in a bear market again, that is the way that the price action worked out. That was something on the card. You have to look at probability, and so the way the price action was going, at the end of the day, markets were moving up and all that kind of things. There was good momentum at the end, so there was a setup, could have been possible for a slight retracement. And like I was saying yesterday, that it's really a tough call, because what will happen today, because in the middle of the week, this is not something like a regular event. You have lots of good news, but it's just the same thing like I was on before. And in fact, I should have reiterated that, sell the news, because the good news that make the market move up later on, eventually, selling the news type of event. So, however, selling the news for so long, and also they were getting tough with it, right? Now, looking back, obviously we know now why they got tough with it, because they got wind of it, how bad it is. I'm talking about the establishment. Like yesterday, they started talking about, QE, government intervention. We're gonna support you, whatever. Where then the Chinese news came in, which was kind of Some of the China and actually South Korea, the daily amount of new infected, um, you know, infections, got down, right? So, but those were selling, basically they were all sell the news type of event. But given the fact that those were the news, now finally they're doing something about it, and there's actually fundamentally good news from China. Again, I don't really be, it's 50-50. They did a great job of actually, to be honest with you, like containing this thing. Um, I mean, they should have let it go out of the bag in the first place. So, but it is what it is. Um, but what happened is right now is that again the condition that I've been saying that the market's been in, the kind of like the context we're living in, that took over again. So basically, the news cycle took over any kind of possibility of any kind of market action that generally regularly happens. And at the same time, as we were saying, that if the market kind of was running about, what was the level? Stayed around the 2840 level or so. For I think of my yeah my line was at 2805. Okay, oh 05, yeah. So the market went opened up at looks like 2825, and then so at first there was the level at 2840, 2850 or so that and broke through last night. And the whole assumption was that if it stays around that, kind of fights in that zone, kind of consolidates, then that possibly will mean that the market will kind of go up a little bit, try to retrace some. If it doesn't fight and if it doesn't stay, it goes down. And if it doesn't really consolidate there, that means that we're going to be back down to likelihood of that price action move down again. Well, the market opened lower anyway. More bad news coming out. This thing is like popping up like freaking flies everywhere. Market went down to so it at first like was hanging around about the 28. Let me switch my and okay. So you have about 2804 or so, and this level goes back some time. I'm looking at intraday. This is a more of a long term, like daily level that just is showing up. At the end of the day, that level I had at about 2734 or so, that will become an important level. Kind of hit that zone. Again, that level is kind of also goes back some time, so that's a fairly strong level. Um, Price almost came down to 2703 or so. That's basically where I had the next level out. So basically, all of these kind of general pricing congestion. Oh fuck, congestion areas are working out. As expected because other traders are also looking at it. People in the market, in the markets are looking at it. But basically, but the whole point that you have. I mean, you have just a bad news of a bad news. Then who finally said it's a pandemic? Well, no shit. This is a pandemic like fucking 2 months ago, right? Believe it or not, the guy who's the lead of the WHO, basically there was a cholera, and he's from Ethiopia, right? And Ethiopia, he had a cholera, and there was an epidemic, and it was basically they didn't let it out. The kind of they hid that, right, because he was looking to get, he was the head of their kind of like the CDC of the Ethiopia, and the he's trying to get a big bonus and a much bigger paycheck. So why would he? So anyway, so this is the same guy who is in charge of it, and the thing is that look at the waffling. I mean, they go back and forth. None of these people know what the fuck they're doing. Most of these people are from the same class of people, the same people who go to the same, universities, the same kind of a typical type of characteristic that that you would need to move up the chain. The point being that from the beginning that it was total clusterfuck. This was a pandemic a long time ago. You have this thing spreading into like fucking 50 countries within like 6 weeks, right? And the effects of it are not really known. This is totally novel, as the name. And I've been over this thing before. I don't want to rehash the whole thing. You can see some of my older videos. I'm gonna post like my previous channel, which got shut down. I'll post the videos from there. And so, but the point being that this is something that should have been already thought about. I mean, think of what it says about people. The fact that they have to have something that tells them, oh, that's bad. Then people think it's bad. Like, let's say there's a fucking line in front of you, right? And he's charging at you. I hope it's just a little kitty. He's gonna play ball with you, right? But now, let's say in the middle, someone comes by and says, "Hey, bam," and there's a, "Hey, it's he's gonna eat you." Like there's a fucking big sign, and they put the sign in front of you. "Hey, he's gonna eat you," and now you fucking spaz out, right? So it's the same shit. And you can see the way it affects people, right? Now you're gonna see like people on. At first they were just making fun of it. That's conspiracy theory, this and that. Now people are gonna go and fucking buy up all kinds of shit and like there'll be like price gouging everywhere. By the way, I got like 60. I got what I got. But anyway, the point being that, and as I've been saying before, this is something that the next shoe to fall would be, there'll be series of things like this happening, and the question is when, and when will the news cycle take over price action or market moves. And so this is it. So now this is and as I've been saying, like it went down only 3 weeks. The conditions were there for this to be a bear market, and it's been under 20% for about 4 weeks now. But technically speaking, it's even now too early for it to be called a bear market. But this is a bear market, and like I said, I've been saying that before that this is a bear market. So one thing to understand is that in this kind of market, that if there was any kind of a counter trend or anything like that, market action, it doesn't have much of a holdover effect. Because in a fast moving market like this, it's like the path of least resistance is, the fact that we have a fucking pandemic, right? That's more important than the market moved up. There's more buying pressure, less selling pressure, all this kind of shit. Because that might happen. Chances are opportunities. You sell the news, right? Because news will come out. Oh, it's whatever. Slightly better. Oh, that they put the fucking National Guard in now. Will make us safe. Well, yeah, maybe like 10% more safe, but the cat's out of the bag, right? So we're fucked. So what's happening? So what's happening is that the potential good news, and I actually wrote down on the board in front of me, so I'm reading that to keep that in mind. So potential good news and positive events isn't affecting the market as much, right? And that they don't have staying power. And so the things that, for example, yesterday, if this was, let's say, these news didn't come in, essentially you might have seen kind of a bottom feeders coming in and picking up some of the supplies, and like in the previous kind of a short counter trend, and didn't happen, right? For obvious reasons. Now looking back, let me. I'm gonna search for something here. Let's see. Yeah. Looks like the 2-year and the treasury is working as a fear index right now, or a counter move to the market. But so basically, what happens that it doesn't have any holding. It doesn't good news doesn't hold over, has zero holdover basically. Uh, Now, any kind of the takeaways from this is that, and this is something is common in a very bad, very strong trending market. In other words, like in a market in a strong context of like either being a bear market or bull market, is that price action, if not exactly, really, let's say the counter trend, if it's not really really strong, if it's like, let's say, let's just say RSI is not, I don't know, 90, it's like 80, not 80, like 70 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like if it's kind of tepid, and maybe it's trending, and maybe counter trending, but if it's tepid, it's the opposite direction. Always assume that it's gonna flip the other side any minute, and understand that, you know, basically that they will not have really upward momentum, that kind of a power, and it's those are good opportunities to sell. Um, that's and the other thing is that you can see that how good news is getting discounted at the same time. Like that's how fear is in the market, or downward momentum is overtaking the market. Unusual positive news like yesterday, those positive news that came out were different than like, okay, we got some fundamentally good news. Number of new people getting lower on a daily basis. So same thing with South Korea. Trump is about to do something. He's doing something about it. On and on and on. Now, all the time he was in, all these people were, with their head up their asses, right? So now they're doing something. Well, bam, out of the picture. So, unusual positive good news will be discounted real quick. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, just an example. Like we have a short, like maybe not a strong rally yesterday, but the market couldn't follow up, right? So with that said, the thing is that you have to also look at like positioning. Right now, obviously in a situation like this, positioning in a short-term trades, intraday trades. I mean, you can do anything, but if you do keep on trades and those trades are overnight, or like keeping for some time, be cognizant of these kind of things that move the market. Um, the essentially that right now, also given where the market's happening, if you, and this is something we were talking about yesterday with, like, I think we were looking at CVX, for example, because I was bringing up how that we were talking about Royal Caribbean, CVX, I mean, Chevron, things that are really kind of more beat up, things that we need, somewhat more defensive. You always get a chance to buy into them, because essentially, you basically get a dollar cost average in. Now, in a bit, if this was just a regular bear market, or let's say if it's a correction, that would have been a great time to get in. But this is now, this is gonna be something that, like I've been saying before, it's a. The question was that, will price action with market sentiment and with the crowd sentiment, behavioral finance, which direction would the market say that the, which direction is it? Are they gonna then opine? Will the market come? "Quote unquote," the market means everything that I just said. The crowd and price action and behavior psychology and stuff like that. Institutional people, all of them. So are they going to just as an upward, like a, just a correction, or the market just gonna be finding ourselves in 6 months from now, it was a correction or a bear market or a recession, something like that, right? Which one of that would come true? The question, the answer to that would be that it just depends. If this was a bear market, those would be. If this was a correction, great entry points. If it's a bear market, even that's a great entry point. What we're seeing like right now is something totally something that Warren Buffett, I was reading on MarketWatch, was saying that in his 89 years, he's never seen anything like this. It took him 89 years for him to see something like this, right? Um, so the thing is that at this point, dollar cost averaging in, that you'll get ample, and this is what we were looking at. You get like a lot of opportunities, ample opportunities. Whenever you have a market that um, the way that the market's shaping up to be, that this is going to be a protracted, um, that down move. You always will get option, time to. Okay, great. So, all right, there's always you can always like a dollar cost average in at a later time. You always have a lot of opportunities, ample opportunities, and if you don't get it the first time around, there's always second time around, and also there's not just one stocks. There's a lot of different assets you could go into. Um, so yeah, and let's see. Yeah. So, the bias, obviously, as we were saying, now with the yesterday's move and with this new move, like I was saying, the next shoe to fall, it has fallen, and again, market might come up sometimes, and we will find ourselves in counter trends, but sell the counter trends, you know, and don't have any like long-term trades on. This is like good rule of thumb things like to think about. Um, let's see what else I was gonna say. I was this short, like I said, I didn't sleep much. I'm gonna go, and I'm kind of tired. Basically, the news got ahead of any kind of market dynamic. Um, and anyway, and like I was saying, this was bound on a given day and happened. Um, okay, and let's see. And the other thing is that if you look at the price action is gyrating over all over the place. That's to say that they don't really have any areas that they're consolidating. In other words, they're not finding a bottom, a floor. Basically, whenever you see something like that and prices are just like fluctuating like that, that generally means that it's volatile. But generally, in a market like that, markets are not things that volatile like and just stay solid, in a range. They might be in a range in a long-term sense, but they're generally volatile and they tend to trend. But basically have volatility, high volatility. They trend more in a certain direction. So, for example, you look at I mean, obviously there's more volatility, but guess what? It was trending down, moved up, right? But there's all let's add implied volatility. Man, I'm like dragging. Okay, so there's obviously there's more volatility. If you look at the intraday price movement, the prices were just switching side, back to back. Like as I mean, sometimes like some of these days they price move up and down, go a different direction 10 times. Um, the thing that I was the point I'm trying to make is that in a volatile market, and if the volatile market is trending in a certain direction, prices will still go up or down. What's happening is that there will be a lot, high peaks and high and low troughs, um, and that goes to show that things haven't settled. There's still more to come. Whenever things settle down, in other words, that whenever you have consolidation, that means the sellers who were there, they're gone. The buyers who were there, they're gone. You can find a new buyers. I mean, it's just simple common sense. It's just like remnants of stock operate. So that I don't really use a lot of advanced stuff or anything like that. That's basically simple stuff, right? Um, so that's the thing is you're gonna see like how the volatile market, generally speaking, they will tend to trend in a certain direction, and in the trend you're gonna find yourself. Anytime you find a counter trend, generally it's a selling opportunity, or it's the unwind. Some of you take profits and stuff like that. Now, in spite of this, there are some things I was looking at is like how to take advantage of, or at least position better. Um, so one thing also keep in mind is that if you look at the dollar, right? Usually, if people are afraid, they go to the dollar. What has been happening lately is that when people are afraid, they're going into treasuries. Um, but at some point, what the hell? At some point, though, um, you will get people though back into the dollar again because the treasury is not paying anything, right? So the thing is that at least you're liquid when I mean the trade going to the trouble to make for 38 basis points on the 2 years doesn't make much sense. And let's say again, like I said before, if the yields go up, then you're coming out with you got to sell out at a lower price. I mean, then you kind of get screwed there. So I mean, basically that's going to be that's going to be an issue, right? So at some point though, but right now though, people are basically going into the treasuries. And they don't even want to be in. Right now, they're not even in cash. They're basically stashing it away, and you can see where the market is headed with that. And it's a question how much investors will go into treasuries again. I mean, again, they will might still. I mean, who knows? Because at the end of the day, this is risk-free return, right? It's backed up by the U.S. government, and feasibly, as the dollar goes down. I mean, you also losing um, purchasing power. So just because you go in a dollar doesn't mean you're liquid, but you're not going to be if people it's hemorrhaging, people getting out of cash or you're gonna have lower dollar value. So why do that? So one of those. At any rate, this is the at least right now that's the relationship that's holding. Um, so that's some of the things that I was looking at. That really there's a lot of things to look at. I didn't like I said I wasn't trading much today. Um, okay, so let's see if anyone has made a comment. What up, Jeff? Oh, you were here like fucking 24 minutes ago. So that said, now we're gonna look into maybe some of the things that we can do. Um, Obviously, I mean, you can trade counter and you can go into ETFs that short the market. You can short the market. You can buy, puts on SPX or what have you. But I was also, looking into taking, and I'll probably do a video about it, like maybe in a long form video, how to like take advantage of a downtrending market. Um, but as of right now, I was looking into some other kind of areas to look at. Is as what I was saying before, is gold is going up. It's it's at its high end. No, it is coming down and hitting a what is this, the 1634 level, like, and I was there's a good bit of level there, and we were looking at this yesterday. But the main thing I was gonna go over is basically you'll have those situations where basically the gold sector, when gold goes up, a lot of things that companies that take things out of the ground is all dependent on if they make money or not, is dependent on if it makes economical sense, and that's based off how much money it costs for them to take it out of the ground. So if they're able to flip gold at a higher price, obviously then it makes more sense for them to take it out of the ground and they make more profits, on and on and on. So what happens is though there's a lagging effect between gold or any kind of assets like that and the actual companies that are making them or getting them out of the ground, because they're not up to speed right away and like, hey, let's get shit out of the ground right now. But the reason I'm bring that up is because you'll find situations like this because you're gonna have gold as, generally speaking, they do act as like somewhat of a inflation hedge or volatility hedge, right? In other words, people try to find safety and flight to quality might find them in gold, right? They might come in gold. So a few things I was looking at is basically some of the gold miners. You can take a look at some of the gold miners. FCX, Yamana, things of that nature, and they're paying pretty good right now. For example, you know, which one was looking at? I had Freeport, right? Yep, yeah, Freeport. Totally crashed with gold still up. Future with the coronavirus thing, it should mean good things for gold. Now, in a momentarily though, it might mean bad things if credit dries up for these companies because then they can't, like find new places or find new, they can't prospect new places, things like that. However, though, the point being that if it goes up, it makes these companies more viable. And so basically, if you're looking at, let's say, you're making about a company, like what